If you treat everything with an all or nothing mindset, most frivolous aspects of your life, most of your interests, will be in that nothing category. If everything is all or nothing, the most necessary items will be all, and everything else will be sacrificed. I've been curating my all or nothing personality for years, which is why I think it's so hard to admit that it's no longer serving me, especially not when it comes to making art. Let me give you an example of this mindset. In school, we have a lot of quizzes here and there worth 5%, And it's worth studying for it because generally the materials covered on these quizzes are important and they're going to be on bigger exams. But also, it's worth 5%. So you could kind of talk yourself into doing the work or talk yourself out of doing the work, either way. Because it's not that big of a thing in the grand scheme of things, 5%. But when it comes to school, I'd spend hours and hours studying for these quizzes. Not because the material's important or because I need the 5%, but because it's all or nothing. And by that I mean, either I keep up with the intensity for everything school related, treat these 5% quizzes the same way I would treat a 40% final, or lose all my interest and motivation altogether. Now, there's obviously a few flaws with a system like this. The first one, an all or nothing mindset doesn't allow for interests or anything that you want to do but you can't really treat as a priority. It means that if you can't give everything to something, it's not worth doing at all. So if you have 10 minutes in a day to draw, it's not really worth drawing because it falls somewhere in between doing all and doing nothing. It's in that gray area, which means it doesn't exist in an all or nothing mindset. Number 2, you burn out fast. It's these types of all or nothing mindsets that leaves you quitting a job or dropping out of school because it turned into something you hated. Responsibilities are, of course, the priority, but to balance responsibilities with one another and with other aspects of your life, you need energy and you can't afford to burn out. So to be able to stay the course of anything, to be able to do anything long term, you need to find a way to make it sustainable. And burning out doesn't allow for that. 3, it's super inefficient. There is a point where more work won't make much more of a difference. You reach an improvement plateau. I remember a teacher once told me, if you can get an 85% studying for one night, but to get a 90%, it'll take another week. Is the 90% really worth it? How much more could you be doing with that time that would be so much more efficient than getting an extra 5%? Now, of course, there's things you can do 100 times and still learn something every time. It's not to say that there's no point in spending a lot of hours on something. And there's some aspects of life where it is actually just necessary to do something perfectly. I'm just saying there comes a point where fighting for that perfection in most things is inefficient, and your time would be better allocated doing something else a little less perfectly. Now, how does this apply to me? Well, I have not really been drawing. I have, but not really in the way that I was used to. I used to fill up sketchbooks fast and obsessively, and then I wouldn't again. I just wouldn't open my sketchbook for a long time, and then all of a sudden I would get back on it and fill it up again. That all or nothing mindset actually applied to my art. It was this sort of cycle of intense, inspired art making, then art block and frustration, and on and on. Or for this channel, I'd make a whole bunch of videos, I'd be super excited about it, and then nothing at all, over and over. However, since starting school, I just don't have the hours that I can spend to dedicate to be available to draw, so I just haven't been doing it at all. But creating is a funny thing because it's honestly innate as human beings that we want to create. We dream up stories, we think up images, imagine recipes. Creating makes us human. And even if you try your hardest to shut it off, to focus on important responsibilities, creating has a funny way of sneaking back up on you. I started filling my school notebooks with doodles and my planners with sketches. I'm still avoiding my sketchbooks and my canvases, but art crept back in gray spaces, somewhere between all or nothing. It's going to take some reframing because it's so easy to convince yourself the time it takes to take out paints or a sketchbook. But the thing is with responsibilities like studying, it just never ends. So if I keep this mindset of okay, well, I can't dedicate time to because I have more important things to do, I'm just never going to draw again. Now, this isn't going to be easy because treating all activities as all or nothing is really ingrained in me. I like taking things seriously. I like caring and obsessing over activities. I like getting better and doing well. And sometimes making something a priority is the only way to do something. But there needs to be a limit, because treating life and every activity you do as a rat race just really isn't sustainable. So here I am, painting doodles for my class notes, making a video again without any crazy editing like some of my past videos, or a script that took me like a bunch of days to write. Also, without a concrete solution to this problem, because I think that's kind of the solution. It's not a black or white answer, because it's constantly evolving. It's somewhere in that gray area. You kind of just have to be constantly learning to show up without obsessing, because doing something a little less will allow you to do it more. Allowing yourself to make art for 10 minutes a day, every day, will lead to you being a better artist than never making art until you're obsessive again. You can't keep waiting until you have hours to dedicate to something, or until the weekend, or until summer break. If this is something that's important to you, but it can't be in that all category, you might need to get rid of that all category. Anyways, I know that this isn't like the most structured or like, again, like it doesn't really have an answer. I can't tell you exactly what you should be doing or what I'm going to be doing to get over it. But I think that's kind of the point, right? Like just putting out a video because I want to put out a video and coming up with some thoughts on art making and just painting in my sketchbook without the pressure of having a finalized concept is that gray area. And that is what I'm trying to do more of. So I hope you enjoyed this. I know maybe it's not as polished as some of the like art videos I hope to make, or like, you know what I mean? Like it's not exactly everything I want a video to be, but that's what I'm trying to do a little more of. So I hope you enjoy. Let me know what you think of these type of videos if you get to this point. And I hope to be making more videos like this in the future, and also more polished videos as well. But thank you for watching. Bye.